Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast. I am Sam. Today we're talking about the latest Star Wars series, Andor. Joining me to discuss it's my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
Hey, Star Wars is back once again.
Yeah, it is. And Star Wars is back. We are back. We are going to do our absolute best not to offend Lucasfilm and the entire Star Wars fandom with this series.
I'm on best behaviour.
We're going to do our best.
Best behaviour.
Absolutely, yep. Try our best. But before we get into that, we got a little bit of self-promotion to do. So basically, one of the things we've been trying to do is encourage interaction with the listeners for quite some time. We have a wide variety in our audience between different shows that we talk about, which is great, and people message in, email. I have a lot of fun with that, and I always really enjoy the interaction. We've tried to develop something a little bit more instant, and it's via an app or a service called Discord. Now, you'll hear me say that like a grandparent would refer to, you know, the interwebs, because I'm old, and Discord makes no sense to me. So I am going to pass over now to my partner in crime, to Stefan, to say, mate, let us know what this is all about.
Hello there. Okay, so Stuff and Things has joined Discord. We have our own community server. We have set it up so that not only you guys, the listeners, can talk to each other, but you can talk to us, the presenters, as well. So far, we've got like a hangout zone, which is just for general chat about shows, podcasts, theories, just generalised. We've also got a Marvel thread, which at the moment is talking with the She-Hulk stuff. The Walking Dead, which is where the podcast started, with the Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead categories. The Game of Thrones category, a Star Wars category, which has currently got The Mandalorian and Andor, and when more shows come out, they'll join it. Lord of the Rings of Power, and then we've also got a section for The Boys, Stranger Things, Umbrella Academy, to kind of cover all the shows that we talk about. And basically, yeah, it's just a nice place for the community of listeners that we have to be able to discuss things with each other, and during the podcasts, it's going to help me, Sam and Kaylee kind of be able to click onto little things that might be said by the listeners about a show we might not have thought about ourselves. And it kind of enables us to bring that into the podcast as well. So, yeah, fingers crossed, it should work out well. You can find the link for it on our Facebook page, I believe on our Twitter as well. And then once we hit 1,000 people in there, you can then just search for it as well, apparently.
Hit 1,000 people? Wow.
Yeah.
I think we're at 2.
Well, we count as well, so I think we're actually at 6.
Wow, badass.
With the presenters and
the admin.
And the admin team, which is my little sister, because she's young and hip.
I wasn't going to throw that under the bus. I wasn't going to say that it was your younger sister. I was going to leave that, because some of the messages we get in here are a little bit creepy. You know, Kaylee. Well, yeah, true. Kaylee's already, blocking people as we go.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, man. I think I understand. It's like a chat room, but modern.
Basically, a chat room model. Yeah, and it enables us for potentially in the future.
Yeah.
To be able to do some live events possibly as well using it. But
live. Yeah. Okay. So, live worries me, to be honest with you, because I even edited, I say some stuff that shouldn't really be said. So. Okay, I've loaded it up there now, and yeah, there's a thread of discussion going on about Andor as we speak, which is great. But yeah, so that's Mikey B145 username and Ryan Mark username. They're both in there having a chat now. So welcome, guys. Thank you. And everyone else, if you already have access, give it a go. If you don't, I set it up yesterday, and so did Kaylee, by the way. And Kaylee is...
Yep.
Well, what's the polite way of putting someone who to technology is like a caveman learning what a fire is?
Yeah,
she did it. She did it in a few minutes. It is really straightforward. So if you fancy it and you want to chat to us on that basis, then please do. Obviously, you can still continue to send the messages in via your podcast providers, and email. Okay, there we go. That was a bit of self-promotion to kick off, wasn't it?
There we go. Happy days. Right.
Andor.
Let's start, shall we?
Season 1, Episode 1. The title of the episode was...
The title of Episode 1 was not on my screen. It just says Episode 1.
Ah, you've been caught out. You didn't look up. You are relying on IMDb, and IMDb has let you down.
Massively. I thought when I looked at it, because The Mandalorian was like Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and I was like, yes! And then this was Episode 1, and I was like, yes!
I'm gonna admit this. I've screwed you over here. I know you rely on IMDb, and I knew they hadn't updated it with the episode titles, so I could have warned you ahead of time, but no. I set you up to fail. I feel bad, but I don't.
Yeah.
So Andor Season 1, Episode 1 is the episode title, I believe, is Casa, which later on in the episode, during a flashback, you hear a young female who we think might be the sister of Cassian, call him Casa. But again, there were no subtitles during that, but that's a whole other conversation. One of the first things I noticed about the show in Episode 1 is the little date thing that came up, 5BBY. Now, this made me laugh, and there's a real reason why this made me laugh. Obviously, Star Wars created by George Lucas, the lore and everything has grown from there massively. Disney took it over, they got rid of all the books that were written, and then have gradually incorporated them back, into TV. They said, all the books, no, none of that's real, none of that's canon. And then they've just gradually incorporated it, which is kind of fun, kind of good, but it's the way it is.
I think they upset quite a lot of people when they said the books weren't canon anymore.
Well, yeah,
so
because...
kind of stepped back a little bit and gone, okay, that wasn't a good idea. Bring them back in a little bit.
A lot of people grew up Star Wars fans and then loved the book, because there was no continuation. You think about it, these films came out in the 70s and the 80s, and then you had books from then on, really, until... what was it, the early 2000s, turn of the millennium, 99, when the prequels came out. So that's all they had. So 5BBY is actually something that fans came up with originally. Fans came up with a timeline and a calendar for Star Wars. So BBY stands for Before the Battle of Yavin, which is the destruction of the first Death Star. Yavin being the planet that the Death Star was, coming around at the time, before it got its ass kicked and Luke blew up 600,000 people. Or more. Yeah, mass.
Take your kids to work day was not a good idea.
No, Skywalker mass murderer, but we don't discuss that. That's not discussed enough, but we will come back to it. One side's terrorist, another guy's freedom fighter. I'm not happy about it. But anyway, 5BBY, that made me laugh. I was kind of like, oh, wow, that's a fan thing. But they've incorporated it. Okay, that's kind of cool. Yeah. So I imagine a fair few of the fans who like that probably would have straight away been like, love this show. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm in.
Now, one of the things that about Star Wars is it is typically a kind of PG. It's kind of, it's space, it's wars, there's stuff going on, but you're not getting an overtly violent, dark, gritty kind of thing. And if I was to equate it to another thing we talk about with Marvel, where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a 12A. There's violence, there's action, but generally you're not going to get anything graphic, nothing horrific.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we got graphic, horrific violence in the opening scenes to this show, but we did have the main character in a brothel, which I think is straight away a kind of, ooh, okay.
This is different.
This is different. Not a cantina, not like a bar. It's not like Boba Fett walking into that place that was like a casino. No. Yeah. This is a brothel, and he walks in. There's women dancing. A madam comes up to him. A couple of guys are impatient because they want to get their rocks off, and he seems to be barging in. He's asking about a woman who come from a planet, and he basically says that, look, this is my sister I'm looking for. Do you believe that? Because of course she sort of says, look, are you in here looking for a girlfriend or a wife or something? And he's like, no, it's my sister. No, do you think that's true? Because I'm not sure.
That cracked me up, that did.
Which bit?
Are you looking? What are you married to her? You're looking for your wife? Come on, what's going on? Who are you searching for?
Yeah.
No, it's my sister. It's my sister.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so
it's not the best place to be searching for family.
Do you think it's true? Because of course, in the flashbacks we do get an indication that he did have someone with him, but it was like the flashbacks like some weird ass Lord of the Flies in Star Wars thing, like a group of kids just left on their own.
Now, I've got to be honest with you. When the flashbacks were coming around, I think I messaged you to say the same.
Yeah.
With the flashbacks, I was like, seriously, I need subtitles. Like, what the heck? And then, like, as the 3 episodes went on, the flashbacks became more and more, like, poignant to the storyline of what's going on. And I'm sat there going, I haven't got a freaking clue. Like, what are they talking about? Where are they going? Why are they Lord of the Flying it? What is happening?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've pieced it together. I think, and this is kind of I don't know. I think I've pieced it together, but we'll get into that. But like I said about the tone of the show, we open with him in a brothel. He then leaves, and these 2 guys who feel affronted are working for like this sort of company. They're like security. It's kind of like local sheriffs working under the Empire. Guys, wannabe stormtroopers, basically. And they try and get up in his face, try and basically extort money from him. And he headbutts one like backwards to break his nose and take the gun off the other one. And the one he headbutts is dead. He's killed him. And so I'm watching it, I'm like, oh wow, that's quite in Star Wars, you kind of expect that to be like, oh no, my nose, and him go, right, tie yourselves up, or something. But no, he's dead. And the other guy, and it's the realization on the other guy of, there's no reason for him to keep me alive. Like, literally, he's just murdered that guy, and I'm the eyewitness. And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, well, they're not going to go there. There's no way they go there. And then he just shoots him in the face. And I'm like, okay,
this is not the Star Wars you're looking for. No. This is like, whoa.
No, that was, and to me though, because it kind of, I don't know, but it just kind of pleased me because I like the content I've seen. Like, I really enjoyed Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I really enjoyed the Boba Fett. I love the Mandalorian. So these series, I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. I'm looking forward to these other shows, and so I'm kind of like, I've got nothing wrong with any of these shows and the tones of these shows, but like having that, I was like, oh wow, this is going to be different. Okay, this has clearly got an edge to it, and I like straight away, I love that. Yeah,
we've gone from like lightsabers that bounce off plastic stormtrooper body armor, because it's Star Wars, to a guy getting headbutted, falling and hitting his head and dying, and then his mate being shot in the face.
Yeah.
Like, this is a definite tone difference.
Yeah, massively, And
this is going to be dark and gritty.
And they made the decision to do that right away. Like, literally, they're walking into a brothel and killing 2 guys and to walk away from. Like, straight away is a tone difference. So, he bugs out, goes back to the planet where he's living. Interesting thing now is this company, or whatever they are, these... it's like regional governors, and these are the kind of like the enforcement troops for these regional governors. He calls it like the company, corporation, or whatever. And the guy who's in charge, like the chief guy who's in charge of it, a guy called Chief Hein, when he has this like busybody, Cyril Karn comes to him and he's like, I want to investigate this, these guys have been murdered. And Chief Hein's like, look, I got a meeting with the Empire coming up. They're going to ask me about the crime statistics. I do not want them coming in here, taking over or whatever, getting all heavy-handed. These guys, accident, whatever, they confronted the wrong guy, tried to extort him. They shouldn't have been at a brothel anyway. Mark it down as an accident, bury it. Now... Yeah!
I was like, wow, okay.
No. Well, I was kind of watching it, and again, when I'm talking about the tone of a show... Underworld, like mafia style, it's kind of like, oh look, these guys shouldn't have been there, so it was just bury it, make it look like an accident, and we'll all move on. What's your thoughts on this? Because the Chief Hein character kind of makes it doesn't say anything overtly, but kind of makes it clear, like, look, if the Empire look at us and go, we're not in charge of this here, they're going to take it over. They're going to come in and whatever, I'm probably dead. You're all going to have stormtroopers up your ass. So we just say, no, accident, and we all move on. And, life continues. We continue making our money, and, life is good. We continue to be in power, in essence. That's the kind of impression I got from him. So what are your thoughts on this guy, like this Cyril Karn, who basically completely ignores him and launches a full-scale manhunt? Do you think he's naive to the Empire, or do you think he's so up his own self, like, I am the man, I'm going to prove myself to be the man, the best, What's your thoughts on him?
So, at first, my first impression of him was, okay, this guy's like proper cocksure. He's like, you know what? So I know you said to leave it, but I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to go and prove to you that something's going on and that you're wrong and that I'm right, and I'm going to prove it.
Yeah.
And then as it kind of goes on, he gives a speech. I think it's the second episode.
Yeah,
he gives this speech and it's like,
awful.
Oh, he has no confidence at all. He is well out of his depth.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, so actually, is he kind of the start of where, in Star Wars, you kind of have the, on the Death Stars, the stuff that, like the generals almost.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's like the start of those sort of people where they are just like completely dedicated.
Yeah. Yeah, and no, I think you're right. I think if
someone has done something against us, that's against the Empire, that's like, we must tackle down on this sort of thing. So I'm kind of like, I wonder which way is kind of going to go.
Yeah.
But definitely not as cocksure as I thought he was when he gives a speech of like, yeah, that's what I meant.
No, but it's weird that, like, because, like you said, you kind of initially have that thought of, this guy is all about himself, his reputation. He sees this.
He's edited his uniform slightly.
Yeah,
that was snazzy.
That was an interesting bit. Yeah, you're right. Like Chief Hines, like, have you adjusted your uniform? He's like, I just added, a bit of spice to it, sort of thing.
Added a bit of a trim here to make it look a bit snazzy,
Yeah, the guy's proper weird, to be honest with you. But a job's worth, I think I'd possibly describe him as, but. Yeah, it is a bit weird, a bit creepy.
Yes.
But we do see that. So he does create this investigation. Now, Andor is back on his planet, and you see that he's got a best mate, and his best mate does the role of the best mate. He arrives, he's like, hey, me and you went out last night, we had drinks, we did this, and the guy looks at him like, really? He goes, yeah. And he goes, oh, well, then you fell over because you were drunk and I pushed you because you were being an ass. That's how you got the bump on your head. And you're here right now to apologise. And I was like, that is the best friend. that right there. Sync. Yeah, ladies, gentlemen, and all other creatures from the Star Wars universe, that is your best friend. Absolutely it is.
Then he gets on the bit and goes, yeah, and tell your mum the heating's not that expensive. Turn the damn stuff on. And off he goes. And I'm like... Oh, he's even carried it on so that everyone else knows they're talking. Oh, he's good. That's a good best friend, that is.
He absolutely is. Yeah, he's the man, without any shadow of a doubt. One of the things that was also kind of interesting in all this is you get this like really quick glimpse into his life is clearly manual labour. Whatever these people are doing is clearly manual labour where they are.
And I was wondering if it was like shipbreakers or something like that.
It looks like it, yeah. It looks like it because later on we also hear like traders come to this planet. Like, look, if you're looking for parts, this is the place to come. If you can't find it here, you can't find it anywhere. So I think you're right. I think it's kind of like mechanical shipbreakers. There's a lot of bits and pieces you see. There's probably Easter eggs everywhere that I've missed because I'm not like that. But that's the part of a starfighter from episode. Yeah, all right, dude, whatever. One of the other things we get to see at this point is a droid. Now, being a kid who grew up with R2-D2, droids are kind of love droids. Bring me the. I mean, C-3PO can go himself, but droids in large. A massive fan of droids. What did you think about the introduction? What did you think about this introduction of basically this beat up, crapped out, barely functioning droid that gets peed on? Like, we're talking about the tone of the show, and it's kind of, to me it was like, wow, okay, so
quite well.
Well, like Star Wars is a part of that's the droids and the kind of fun of droids, and literally they have a moment where it's being peed on. Of course, the thing does an R2 and shocks the animal away. But still, I kind of looked at it and thought, if you're trying to look for symbolism, like if I was doing A-level media studies right now or something, the symbolism of that is kind of like, Star Wars, yeah, we piss on Star Wars. But yeah, I mean, I like the droid being a kind of because it also lends itself to the fact that they got nothing. They're not affluent. They're not living in some space mansion. They've not got their own ship. He's basically using ships that his mate's allowing him to take out and bring back.
And with a pissed on droid. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with a droid reeking of animal piss.
I love the communication between Andor and the droid, though.
Yeah.
The way they communicate, like, I need you to tell me a lie. Now, I understand telling a lie takes a lot of power.
Yeah, so you need to go home and charge.
Something I've never even thought about.
No, it's just like such a silly thing to think about, but it's in there and the way it's natural. And of course, we see through the flashbacks that when Andor's first taken in by his adopted parents, shall we call them, or kidnappers, depending on your point of view, he's been around. So he's basically been around this particular droid. He's grown up with this droid, so he would have been about 8 years old, perhaps. We're estimating. So he literally has gone boy to man with this droid. Yeah. So he's bound to have some serious affection for this droid.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So, like I said, there's loads of stuff in this opening episode. One of the characters we meet appears to be a friend of his again. I'm not entirely sure if they used to be involved or if they are just friends, and her name is Bix. I'm going to pause here for a moment so you can salivate over this particular actress.
Oh, what a lady. What a lady. She was the best part of Morbius, I'm not going to lie to you.
I've still not seen it.
She's the best part of it, not going to lie.
I've got zero interest still. I saw an interview the other day with Matt Smith. I think Matt Smith's in it. And a guy said to him, I was on a plane recently and Keanu Reeves was watching Morbius. And Matt Smith's like, I'm a massive Keanu Reeves fan. Why couldn't he watch anything else I'm in? And that, I think that summed it up, didn't it? Yeah. But yeah, anyway, sorry. I don't want to digress too much. So we meet this character called Bix, who appears to me to be a bit of a fence. Like, he takes her some stolen stuff, she buys it or she sells it. That's the impression I get anyway. They're obviously known each other for a long time and they trust each other. She has a boyfriend who is the jealous type.
Yeah.
And he tries to warn Andor off, clearly thinking that there's more to their friendship than just being friends. And like basically says, like, every time you come around, she, you make her moody. And Andor's like, yeah, go yourself.
Yeah, if you want a woman that's not complicated, find another woman.
I know.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I'm not even entertaining you, bro. I'm not even gonna dignify your jealous ass with any kind of response. I'm doing my thing, and I'm busy. Of course, Andor is busy because he knows he's wanted for murder. So he's trying to get his ducks in a row. Now, one of the things Bix says to him is, the guy who's buying stuff from me, the guy I've got a connection with, would like to meet you. And it's kind of a bit like throwaway, and he's like, whatever, I just want to sell it. And she's like, okay, I'll set it up. Now, of course, we later see that this person knows about Cassian, knows about him, and is clearly...
everything about him.
Yeah, clearly has more going on than just buying and selling stolen goods. Just from episode 1, the couple of kind of like notes I've got is mostly now around the flashback. So, like I said, it's like a Lord of the Flies situation. It's a group of kids. The oldest are teenagers. The youngest appears sort of 2-3 years old, even like toddler-esque.
Yeah, so where the heck have all the adults gone?
Now, so we're going to talk about the flashbacks in general now before we sort of go in this episode 2. But the flashbacks in general across all of them, I think we get information throughout the show which suggests this particular planet was a mining planet and there was some disaster and the planet got abandoned. Now, I'm thinking that these particular kids or whatever were part of a school or were just all together in a village, and the adults died. Whatever happened, whatever this disaster, because the Empire deemed the planet is unbreathable atmosphere and stuff like that. So perhaps like when the mines collapsed, there was some issue, but they've somehow managed to survive. And it's just them there. So again, purely guesswork. I don't know this. This is just me listening to bits and pieces and trying to, 1 and 1 makes 22.
That's it. If you're listening and you join our Discord, get on there and tell us what your theories are.
Yeah. If you're listening and you wanna correct me, people love to do that. So yeah, jump on. There's a crashed ship which the group of kids go to investigate. The eldest teenager gets shot. I'm guessing killed because it didn't look good.
It does look that way, didn't it? Yeah.
But Cassian is a relentless little git. He carries on into the ship when everyone else is bugged out. He's on the ship having a good look round, and then he loses his temper and just decides to smash the thing up.
Not entirely sure why, but yeah.
No, again, I'm not. No, that kind of happened. Now, again, during the flashbacks, we then get flashbacks for the character who is like his adoptive mother, who is referred to as his mother by his friend back on the planet. And she arrives looking to steal stuff. Now, this next part is where I'm really confused, and I'm really hoping you can help me out. And if anyone's listening, again, I'm really hoping you can help me out. So forgetting the whole was he rescued, was he kidnapped thing, because that's a side issue. She says we have to go. There's a Republic cruiser coming, circling. There's a Republic cruiser, okay?
Yeah.
So that would mean that this planet, at this particular moment when this happened, was pre-Empire. Because we know once the Empire emerged, the Republic's gone.
Yep.
Would you say that's fair?
I would say so far, yeah.
Yep. However, when you're learning about this mining disaster, it's referred to as an Imperial mining facility that had the disaster. So, if they were on there post-disaster, why would it be a Republic ship and not an Imperial ship?
Yep.
Okay, so you're not sure?
No, okay, I'm with you on this one. I did find the flashback scenes very hard to keep up with.
Oh, really?
Again, I don't know if it was just because of the whole not knowing what they were saying and stuff, but every time it went to a flashback, my brain automatically just went to, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
So when she then starts talking about Imperial ships and all that sort of thing, I'm kind of like, where are we in this time zone? Like, I was getting so kind of like, where are we right now?
Yeah, no. I mean, that's kind of where I was with it. It just basically confused me, which isn't difficult. So again, like I said, if everyone listening, if y'all know what it was, please let me know, because I was confused. But again, as I've said before, not difficult to do. So with that being said, like I said about the flashbacks, he is taken by them. Now, she knocks him out and takes him.
Kidnap, yep.
So I'm gonna put it to you, because it's a debate I've seen raging online: rescue or kidnap? Because she basically says,
well, she does say we can't leave him here. Yeah,
she does say that, but at the same time, they're talking about Republic. Now, in our knowledge of all things, the Republic weren't about killing people. Now, the only thing that is flashing up in my mind is if these events are happening right as Order 66. Because if you think about it, if you're living in the universe at that moment, Order 66 is given, the Jedi are being wiped out. If you're just someone living on a planet, you don't know any of that. It's not like you got, 24-hour Fox News coming on telling you all about it. Well, I mean, they tell you that the wonderful Emperor is purging the evil Jedi.
Well, yeah.
But what oh god, that's going to get me cancelled. I may have to edit that. So, this is why I can't do live stuff. The whole, like I said, the whole thing could be at that moment, and she's seeing what she believes to be Republic ships wrecking places and killing people. So she's thinking, "Gotta get the hell out of here," because these clones have gone crazy. But I don't know. Again, that's just a theory. We'll have to wait and find out. Okay, everybody listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We've had a slight interruption here. So basically, thank you so much for listening. Let's start there. This show is Andor episodes 1, 2, and 3 from season 1. We've been talking about episode 1, and we were kind of mixing it in and about to go into more detail on 2 and 3 when we experienced a power cut. The power cut basically took us out, and we lost a lot of what we'd already recorded. So we've edited it to the best point we can, and rather than just try and carry on and make it sound like we carried on regardless, I thought, total honesty, apologies, this show is going to be late, but that's why. So if you're listening to this right now, we are incredibly sorry about that, but literally nothing I could do about it. The power cut actually caused a surge which fried my desk. I have a very fancy podcasting desk nowadays, and yeah, I had to get a spare part, which I honestly thought was going to take me a long time to fix, and it was actually really easy, so now I'm worried I've done it wrong. Yeah. Do you ever feel like that? Like, if you do something and like it was actually so much easier than you thought, you're left there looking at it thinking, clearly I did something wrong then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So, also the heads up. So the sound audio is going to be a bit different.
Yeah.
I am now recording the second half via phone call.
You are.
Which is something that Kaylee normally does on our She-Hulk one.
Yeah.
But due to recording times, the children are downstairs doing homework and dinner. So I'm like, I'm going to go hide in the study.
Yeah. So the usual podcast studio unavailable. So we are, we're mending and making do. So again, everyone, apologies on this, but hopefully hopefully it's not too bad.
Normal service shall be resumed next time.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So we're talking about Andor. We're about to move on now into episode 2. The title of the episode was...
That would be me.
Correct. I think my first... I've written down kind of 6 bullet points for this episode. It's kind of like my talking points. So just for fun then, let's actually go through the bullet points rather than me doing them as like the guide. I'll just read them to you and then you can run with it, okay? So I'll read you the bullet point and you run.
Okay.
Bullet point number 1. Cool clock tower guy. And you have to be really careful how you say that.
Yeah.
So that was bullet point 1. What's your thoughts?
Cool clock guy. So, yeah, like the fact that they don't have like this big kind of town clock. It's some poor bloke that's got to keep walking out.
Yeah.
And hitting some metals. They know the time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, is it time to finish work yet? Oh, I don't know. I've not heard the man and his chimes. Oh, there they are.
I like the idea that everyone in this like township knows each other. So literally, that's Jeff. Like, Jeff, what time is it? Oh, it's 10 to Jeff. Like, oh, is it nearly time to finish work? I don't know. I think it's about 1/4 to Jeff.
Wait for the Jeff o'clock. Yeah,
wait for Jeff time. When Jeff hits 4, we're going home, people. This guy with these big like noise cancelling headphones, and I'm kind of like, this is Star Wars. They're literally blasting off and landing in spaceships. They're carrying laser weapons, all this stuff, and yet this town is relying on this guy, who we are dubbing Jeff now. He's Jeff.
Yeah.
Relies on him for their timekeeping. And there's something simplistic and beautiful about that, which I kind of liked. Okay.
Apart from that one day that he overslept with a hangover and everyone turned up to work late the next day.
Yeah, and he basically passed it off as daylight savings, and it's been that way ever since.
Yes.
Okay, bullet point 2. An alert is sent out looking for Cassian Andor. Bix's jealous boyfriend grasses him up.
Yeah, this was one of those moments, like, you could kind of see it coming a little bit.
Well, what we did...
The way the interaction was there, it was like,
And then he does it, and you're like, "Oh, you jackass!"
You absolute jackass. Now, I think we ought to touch on the fact that he follows Bix and Cassian to like a bar place. Now, we know because we're following the conversation that Cassian is all about, look, I need to get out of here. We're friends. We need to get out of here. And they are being friendly. You know, there's no two ways about that. But the boyfriend kind of sees the hand on hand, and his brain just goes and loses it. And he goes and grasses him up. This guy then goes back to his place.
Booty call afterwards. Unbelievable.
Yeah, this guy goes back to his place to chill out. Well, probably not to chill out, but to rage silently. And she shows up there. Now, you have a deep appreciation for this actress.
I do.
On a level.
On a talent of actressing level, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. That's where your head is. And she shows up there, booty call, and leaves in the morning. And this guy says nothing, which, by the way, as a man, I get.
100%. You are not spoiling that moment.
No. She shows up. He's not going to go, oh, no, I got everything wrong. You best go tell your friend to run because I've grassed him up. He's in the moment.
Is this like also one of the first ever kind of scenes like that in a Star Wars film?
What, a booty call?
Yeah, I've never seen a booty call in Star Wars. Like, even the whole Anakin and Padme thing, it was all very theatrical and rolling around in fields and sunsets and, oh, now she's pregnant. This was a straight up, I'm here for a booty call.
Yeah. There was no kind of denying that happened. Okay, my next bullet point, which is a quote from it. Corporate tactical forces are the first line of defense for the Empire. Now, I wrote that down because it was kind of like highlighting that the Empire is this big umbrella, if you like, over the galaxy. And these... the way I looked at it, it was like if you've got your central government and then you've got local government. So you've got like the head honchos, the guys who are in charge of everything, and then you've got the local people, and the local people are like this corporate tactical forces. And me and you, I think we've already described it once, and I'll describe it again. It's basically like the Empire Light, the Imperial Stormtrooper wannabes.
Yeah, we're not quite stormtroopers, so instead we go and bully the little towns.
Yeah. That's basically how it seems.
They wouldn't give me a white suit, so I have to wear this stupid blue one. Yeah.
Although some of them customize that stupid blue.
Of course.
Yeah, because that guy's so cool. Yeah. My next bullet point is. Next bullet point is we meet Marva Andor, who is Mother.
Mummy.
Now now at this point in the episode, when I'm watching it, I've put a question mark, like Mother, like really. They don't look like mother and son to me, but perhaps I'm wrong. And of course, we then learn of what we've already discussed, the kidnap/saving of Cassian.
Yes.
We'll circle back to that. But it was nice to meet her and get to know her a little bit. Now, my next note on this is probably the one I wanted to discuss with you the most, because I think it's the one that's kind of confused me the most in terms of I wonder why this is. The mention of the planet Canary and him being Canarian.
But it's very secret.
But it's very secret. And I'm kind of like, there must be so many things that have happened across so many planets with the Empire being in charge. Why is it that being from that planet might get people's eyebrows? What is it about that? Being Canarian might put you on the radar.
See, now I have a theory, which is like a proper far out theory.
Love it. Bring it on.
So I think we kind of established that we reckon it was probably like a mining planet.
Yeah, they said there was a mining planet and there was some sort of disaster and the Empire shut it all down.
Now, if there's something there that the Empire doesn't want anyone else to know about, that could be a reason. Or my theory is maybe there's something there that only the people that are from there knew about.
Yeah.
And that's why the Empire wants him so badly, because, you must know where this item is. Now, could it be the kyber crystals?
Yeah, that's not a bad shout, because we know
like that.
We know from Rogue One that the kyber crystals actually play a big part in the Death Star. The kyber crystals are kind of a big part of the Death Star's weapon. And obviously, apologies for anyone who doesn't know, the kyber crystals are what help power the lightsabers. So yeah, no, that could be it. If they were a kyber crystal kind of mining operation, the Empire took all that they could and then basically killed everyone to keep them silent of where this was.
Yeah,
anyone
so
from that
you
planet,
don't tell anyone you're from there.
Yeah, anyone from that planet would be a threat to security of their operation. Because
that's my kind of far out theory.
I like it. We'll run with it and we'll see what happens. It's much better than mine. I thought it was going to be Mephisto.
There he is.
Yeah, but he gets a mention every week, no matter what show. He will prop up at some point. What did you think about the general pacing of the episodes? Because they released 3 for us to watch, and I think from memory you watched 1 and 2 together, but then there was a gap before you watched 3.
It was a couple of day gap actually.
Yeah, I felt the pacing of the episodes was okay. It didn't, but the thing is it's difficult because when you've got 3 to watch, it felt like, for me anyway, one story across those 3 episodes, which was him going from, okay, here's Cassian, what the hell is he up to him being chased to leaving that planet with the guy, and us kind of going, oh, he's off to start the rebellion, be part of the rebellion. And now we're kind of like the adventure will begin now, sort of thing.
See, I was quite surprised when I loaded it up.
Yeah.
Especially with the shows that we're kind of watching at the moment for the podcast. So we're doing, obviously, Star Wars Andor, which has just started. This is our first podcast. We've been doing She-Hulk with Kaylee.
Yep.
And then we've been doing Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones.
Yep. And
I was kind of expecting this to be along the 45 minute to an hour mark.
Oh, right. No.
So when it was 3 episodes, I was like, oh, man, that's like 3 hours to watch. Bang, bang, bang. I'm like, it's going to be epic because everyone said Obi-Wan Kenobi wasn't long enough. Everyone wanted a bit longer episodes, but they got the pacing so right.
Yeah.
So I just, even though Mandalorian and Obi-Wan are like, half hour, 40-minute episodes, my brain still went to, it's an hour long, right? So when I turned it on, the first episode was like 48 minutes, including intros and credits. I was like, oh, okay. And then it kind of started, and I got through the first 2 episodes, obviously a lot quicker than I expected.
Yeah.
And I think the pacing's really good because the only criticism I have is the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Apart from the flashback kind of bits, which I'm still very Lord of the Flies, what's going on.
Yeah.
Apart from those bits, like I think everything is developing quite at a quick pace.
Yeah, I have a natural dislike of non-linear storytelling and flashbacks being overused.
Yeah.
With these opening 3 episodes, I kind of was okay because the ending of episode 3 has that kind of mirrored moment of him on the ship as a kid, him on the ship as an adult.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt to me like, okay, you've told us this story now. We know he was a kid and taken from this planet, and we also got a hint that perhaps his sister got left behind. He's looking for her, but we don't know if it's really his sister. We don't know. So we're kind of like, okay, there's a little hint of he's trying to find someone. And we know he's off now. Now, for me, if that's what they've done with flashback, then okay, cool. My fear is this show is going to be flashback laden every week,
and we're going to have it for the entire season. It's going to be flashbacks from his past.
Yeah.
And unless they're going to give us subtitles, please stop making them talk to each other because I have no idea what's going on.
Well, I think that bit's done. I think that, like you said, Lord of the Flies, a group of kids surviving by themselves is done. Because in the flashback, he has now left with mom and dad. I think we may get flashback to that, to him, to...
Well, the fact that dad's no longer there, wherever he's gone, I feel like we're going to get that story told as well.
Well, we know what happened to him. I mean, in episode 3, Luthen says, your father was hung in the street by the Empire.
Yeah, so I wonder if we'll get much of a kind of flashbacks around those events sort of thing to find out what happened, and is that kind of why Andor's got this kind of different side to him, like where he is now? Is that because of what happens with the Empire? Is that why it's so against them?
Yeah, I think you could be right.
Be fun to find out though. Like I said, I'm interested in it, and each episode has kind of made me want to watch the next one, which is pretty much
the main thing.
You know, yeah.
That is all you can ask for. Now, moving on into episode 3 then, and the title of the episode was...
Reckoning.
Good man. So again, my opening bullet point on this really is the discussion around this guy, Luthen. And I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Luthen Rael. R-A-E-L. Rael?
I find it easier to say the doctor scientist from Thor or Bill from Mamma Mia.
Oh, don't do that. Don't say Bill from Mamma Mia. Don't ruin Star Wars. Don't do that.
Me and you had this conversation, didn't we? Like, this guy has been in so many films.
Yeah.
And he is absolutely incredible actor.
He is.
Majority of our generation now see him and go, Dr. Soul's thingy from Thor. It's him from Thor, isn't it? Or in my case, in the musical background, it's Bill from Mamma Mia.
The musical background. Listen to this. Okay.
I know.
Right. Well, we're gonna park that because I think the street cred as Star Wars fans you've got is diminished completely. Boba, hello there, and now this.
Yeah, and now Mamma Mia. Yeah.
Yeah. Mamma Mia. All right. So we have this situation where he is trying to sell this part that he's somehow stolen. It's clearly high end. It's clearly high risk. He's stolen it from the Empire. Bix is helping him, and Bix has contacted this guy Luthen to come and meet him. At this stage, worth looking at this. Okay, it's a simple. He's trying to sell this. One of the interesting things is we see with Bix is that to contact this guy is completely clandestine. She goes to like this junk shop, gives like a code word of what she's looking for, and the guy says, "Oh, you got to dig deep at the back," and you see her basically slip into this stuff. She goes inside a tunnel and has to climb up to use a radio that's hidden at the top of a tunnel tower.
That's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental.
Well, I think it goes to show the level that people are having to go to try and steer clear of the Empire. You want to send a communication out, they're going to intercept it, so you've had to take a lot of precautions.
Like, one of those things we know is you never give like a communication device to a droid.
No.
Like that, that'd be really dumb. You wouldn't do that.
Well,
but to hide a walkie-talkie at the very back of a junkyard through tunnels and stuff, now that makes sense.
A walkie-talkie, yes, a walkie. Yeah. Over.
Yeah.
So she does make this contact. The guy does arrive. He lands outside of the city, arrives sort of via the shuttle. This made me laugh.
Him shuttling in made me laugh so much.
Well, the guy just like chatting his ear off.
Yeah. He's sat there completely like stonewall face, like, I'm just here to do what I need to do. Don't need to talk to anyone. Don't make myself known. Just get there. And I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my God, that other guy is me.
Yeah.
That is what I do. I get on the underground and say hello to people. But I'm like, oh my God, that's actually what I'm like.
Well,
the guy
sat there.
Top. I like it.
Luthen sat there with a face like, don't talk to me or I'll kill you. That's me on the London Underground.
Yeah. Whereas I'm very much the other guy. Oh, you're wearing trainers. I'm wearing trainers too. Where'd you get yours from?
Wow. Yeah. How are you not hit more?
Honestly,
yeah. I don't know. Yeah. But he does arrive there and he does go and meet Cassian. And what we find, or at least what I find quite interesting in this, is the guy actually doesn't appear to be interested in the part that's stolen. He's interested in Cassian and how he got it.
Purely in Cassian, yeah. Like, it's like, you got the part, I've got the credits, but I know all about you. And it's like, Cassian is so desperate, like, give me the credits, it's yours.
Yeah, just take the thing and let me go. Yeah. And the guy kind of just makes it clear that, no, I need to know how you stole this. And Cassian obviously just like says, this is how I've done it. Now give me the money. What does it matter how I got it? Here it is.
Yeah, don't ask questions, just take it. Yeah.
Now Cassian is being hunted because Bix's boyfriend grassed him up. These guys in the blue suits have arrived and they've located where he is because they ended up going to his place because they knew his name. His mother's there, which is kind of an awkward scene, and lo and behold, he gets in trouble because he gave his droid a communication device. Something that has never worked in Star Wars. Look at situations with R2, look at situations with 3PO. Always lands him in trouble.
They've just died in the trash compactor. I killed them.
Yeah, R2.
No, C3PO, we're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, it's never worked ever. So you see that happen, just go, oh well, that's dead. That's but anyway,
and we've got to touch on the fact that the sergeant is like, the most sergeant person ever.
I think we do need to bring up the fact that someone in casting went, can you tell me about this character? And the character were like, okay, well, we're looking for this kind of sergeant major type, this kind of leader of men, not an officer though. He needs to be mean and tough but not posh. He can't be aristocracy.
He needs to be like big and imposing and kind of
needs to be scary. Yeah, he needs to be scary. But, he needs to have this element of the run of the earth, kind of person. Oh, so, okay, a Scotsman, basically. We've cast this guy. Yeah, the first Scotsman in the Star Wars universe and he is. He's just, like, full on.
Proper Scottish,
And it is kind of hilarious. Now, he drags this guy along, the one who, glammed up his own uniform.
Is it Cyril?
Yeah, but he's kind of, I don't know, not guilt trip. Guilt trip is the wrong word, but he's kind of brought him along and this kind of like, oh, it's good to have the officer in the field, sir. It helps with morale. And the guy gives a speech which I refuse to believe would have inspired anybody. Maybe would have inspired some suicides, but other than that, the guy...
Oh, man, it is awful, isn't it? Absolutely awful.
He is absolutely terrible. And even the kind of sergeant's looking at him like, okay, shut up, you're ruining this.
Yeah, the Scots bloke has just kind of installed this kind of proper, we're going to go there and we're going to get revenge and this is how it should be. And then this guy's got on there and gone, okay, everyone, you know your jobs. Yeah. Okay, let's go for the Empire, let's go.
Yeah, it is bad. It's bad. But, it's interesting because, you're seeing this character and I think we're going to see this possibly.
Cyril's hard.
Yeah, possibly not in a good way, but he does go down there. Now, Cassian...
I wonder where he's going to go.
Sorry. Cassian and Luthen are basically surrounded by these blue shirts, and Luthen has left explosives on the door, telling Cassian...
Rule number 1. Yep.
Yeah, rule number 1, I make my own exit sort of thing. And so when they try and storm them, he blows it up, kills it. There's 2 down, and this sergeant and this guy, the officer, is like, oh, we've lost 2 people already, and it just goes from there, really. Cassian and Luthen are taking them out on a fairly regular basis, getting chased, a big fight across the whole town.
See, now this was interesting as well, because the whole time they're getting out, Cassian's like, but the box is in play. We must... And Luthen's like, and...
Well, again, I think it highlights this fact that he wasn't there for that at all. No. Like the fact or it could be the fact that, what do you do here? Do you prioritize the part, or do you prioritize the guy who's able to get the part and would be able to get another one?
Exactly. And like the way his character was, I was half expecting him just to go open his coat up and you go, oh, you mean this part? Already got it.
Yeah, I did think that as well myself. Until I saw it fall on the floor, I did think the guy probably already had it. And then Cassian would have been like, son of a... But yeah...
How did you do? Okay.
It was interesting. I mean, like, this kind of visually a great fight scene, like with these kind of like weighted objects flying as well.
Yeah.
It made it interesting, visually very interesting. The 2 of them are getting away. Now, a little side note to what's going on here, which I think is really interesting, is this township, once they realise one of their own is being hunted by these blue suits, they start sounding like an alarm.
Suddenly, they all work in the bell tower. Yeah.
Well, everyone on every street corner starts hitting. What the
time is now.
And all of a sudden, everyone's locked down, the houses are all shut, and just all you can hear is that noise. And it's just constant, and it's intimidating. And I think one of them even says, like, oh, this their attempt at intimidation, ignore it. And the woman...
Marva comes back with the best line.
Yeah, I mean, she comes back with, like, this is nothing to worry about when it stops. you got to worry. Now, what's funny about that is the two guys, one looks a little bit panicked and everyone kind of dismisses it. But when it stops, those two guys are out there.
Yeah, that clocking, like the banging stops and they're both like, oh, she meant it. Okay,
yeah, we're gone. So they bug out. But at this point as well, sorry, I was kind of laughing at this because it's kind of funny, but we have a situation now where Cassian takes hold of Siri Karn and he has, Luthen says kill him straight away.
Yeah, straight up kill him. Now, we're looking at it and I'm like, right, now, is he saying kill him for information or is he saying kill him because he might recognise us, get rid of the evidence?
Yeah, it's a really interesting, because I'm not sure at this moment, and I'm interested to know if they then have a conversation about, like, why did you let him live? Or if they don't touch on it, I will work on the theory that Luthen was saying that to scare the crap out of him, so he'd reveal, look, how many of you are there? And he spilled because he was like, oh, they're going to kill me. Now, what was interesting is the guy, one, did tell the truth and did spill pretty easily.
There was no kind of beat that out of him. Yeah.
Well, no, because you think about it, he could have said 12 in the town, another 20 are by the ship. We've impounded your ship. There's 30. So, he could have made up anything because he'd have known they'd have needed a ship to get off the planet. He'd have known that. So he could have just said all of the, we know where your ship is. There's 20 guards there. You're not going anywhere. Your best bet is to negotiate with me, and, I can guarantee you'll be kept alive or something like that. But he isn't. He isn't calm enough. He isn't smart enough in the moment. I think that sergeant might have said, there's 400 of us, just to try and intimidate them back. But
which makes you kind of think, especially on this Cyril Khan character, like, we've watched him to begin with, and we spoke about how, is he trying to be like a proper officer on one of the Death Stars, or is he just a run-of-the-mill normal cop that's a bit above his pay grade?
Well, I think he
very instantly it's like, oh.
I think he sees himself as an Imperial officer.
Yeah, but the first sign of danger, he goes straight back to like local town police officer.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Yeah. Now, like we said, what is interesting is he is left alive. Perhaps character plot armor, but he is left alive. Another way of looking at it, of course, if he shot him, there's no silencer on a blaster. So if he did shoot him in that moment, everyone would have known where they were. Now, what they then did is they grabbed a speeder, rigged it with some explosives, and drove it out. Did you at any point think that they were in that one?
At the very start, I did.
Oh no!
When it first started moving, I was like, that seems like a flawed getaway plan.
Yeah.
And then as it drove straight towards the guards, I was like,
the main reason why I didn't is because Cassian had said to him, do you have any more of those explosives? So unless like if that had driven out and the building behind him had exploded, I'd have thought they were in it. But as soon as it pulled out and they were all firing, I was like, that's a distraction. They're going to blow that up. Everyone's going to think, oh, they were in it. Yeah, we've won. And then they're just going to slope away. But as it was, they actually drove it off. All the guards drew in close. And as they got in close, they blew it up, killing more of these guys. And then they bugged out on a speeder, like a bike speeder.
Yeah, there's not many of these soldiers left of the original 12.
No. I mean, I think I estimate 6 dead, maybe 8 dead, but there's definitely a lot wounded.
Yeah.
The officers had a bad first excursion. And of course, you got to remember, he was told no. He was told, bury this. Do not go looking for this guy. Do not create trouble. But he did it anyway. This
something tells me he's getting fired.
Well, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because his boss is obviously not going to be happy with him. But if someone higher up perhaps is like, oh, what's gone on? Like, oh, this guy escaped with the help from somebody, and I think he sounded like, senator whatever. All of a sudden, this little nonsense guy could be dragged up to the big leagues. So it's going to be quite interesting because, like you said, he said kill him. And just to go back to that, when Luthen said that, he could have been saying it because he might recognize me. He can't leave him alone. We don't know who Luthen is right now. Luthen could be someone completely behind the scenes, or he could be someone who's out front a lot of the time that
He could be one of the senators in...
Exactly, yeah. He could be somebody that the Empire or someone like that, so if they realised he was doing this, would just have him killed. Yeah. So it is interesting. It's going to be fascinating to see if it's touched on, because like I said, if Luthen says to him, "Why did you let that guy live?" then we know he meant it. If it's not brought up, then I'm going to assume it was done for intimidation. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of main bullet points I had. I thought the kind of fight across the township was good. I thought it was without... See, it's kind of like this fine line, because you want your goodies to be great and you want your baddies to be a bit incompetent. Do you know what I mean? It's like you kind of... You need the henchmen to not be sharpshooters, because otherwise your heroes die instantly.
Yeah, but I like the fact this is so nitty-gritty, and that we already know that, like, he does some bad things. He mentions in Rogue One that he's done some bad things.
Does a lot of bad stuff for the rebellion. Yeah.
And I'm like, we're going to see some of that stuff. All of a sudden, like, that good guy, bad guy line is just going to get a little bit of a blur on it.
Well, I think there will be some grey area, and it's fun to explore. As an adult, it's fun to explore.
Luke Skywalker and 1,000 people on the Death Star.
Yeah,
there are some blurred lines.
The Empire win the war. Luke Skywalker's a terrorist. They lost the war. He's a freedom fighter hero. So we probably shouldn't overanalyze that. But yeah, 600,000 on the first Death Star, 800,000 on the second, and the whole galaxy cheered. But of course, compared to the population of Alderaan, I still think they're winning. No, too soon? Too soon? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if winning's the right one.
Yeah. Hashtag winning, body count. The Emperor's like, what up? So, but yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed these 3 episodes. I really enjoyed the pacing of it. I enjoyed the fact that we are seeing this slightly different side of the Star Wars universe, and I'm very interested to see where we go now. I'm very interested to see whether... Because I think with this show, I mentioned it to you and possibly in the part of the podcast we pre-recorded, so apologies if I'm repeating myself. The show for me, I always thought was, prequel for Cassian Andor. I'm going to follow him and his route to Rogue One. That's going to be fun. What I didn't really think about was his route was actually the rebellion beginning. Like, he isn't just joining the rebel army, he is founding. He is part of
He is starting it,
Yeah, so if this show does what it looks like it's going to do, which is going to be the rebellion forming, becoming a thing, this is going to be really interesting. I mean, like, really interesting. As a Star Wars fan, it's going to be a different take on stuff we already know, but from a different perspective, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I think so. I mean, the last thing really I've got to ask you really is, obviously we spent, at the beginning of the podcast, we spoke about the new Discord. And we've got Ryan and Mikey were chatting on there about the Andor show before we recorded it.
Yeah.
Kind of the question they really had was about, do you think we'll see any cameos pop up?
Yeah.
I know you said to me that the people that created this show had already said, no, look, we're not going to be hiding Easter eggs everywhere and random cameos every week. But can you think, like, is almost like a teenage Leia going to be seen anywhere because it's the start of the event? Maybe even a Vader. That came to my head, actually.
I mean, it's possible.
Can you imagine just Vader on one of those hologram screens, like kind of what the hell is going on that planet?
Yeah, I mean, it's infinitely possible, because the showrunners have made a big deal out of the fact they're like, look, don't watch it for that. You know, you're not going to get... They've called it fan service, but what they mean by that is they've made this to tell the story of Cassian Andor and the rebellion. They have not done it just so every single week it's a cameo fest. You know, it's not going to be that.
Yeah, so, which I'm fine with that. I'm
fine. I'm fine with that. And also it means I'm going in to watch the show expecting nothing. So if something does happen, like, let's say we get to the final episode of this series and Cassian Andor sat down and Obi-Wan Kenobi walks in, I will lose my mind, because
it'll be Luke in Mandalorian all over again.
You're exactly right, because they managed to keep that a secret. So if you manage to get to the end of that, you manage to get to an episode in Andor where there is a cameo of some character and you're not expecting it, the excitement and the fun of that is there and it's brilliant. I think one of the things, especially in Marvel now, in the movies and the TV series, people create an expectation. Oh, this show is set in New York. Spider-Man's going to be in it. And when Spider-Man's then not in it, which he shouldn't be because it's a show about somebody else, people are disappointed. The show's crap. Why is it, this could have been so much better? That's because you've created an expectation and a story in your own mind.
We're currently having that with She-Hulk because Daredevil's helmet was seen and now fans are kicking off, I'm only watching it for Daredevil. Well, it's not called Daredevil, so stop. You're
exactly right. So that's the situation with it. I'm going into it on the basis we're not going to see anyone. I obviously, it'd be fun. There's certain characters you can imagine showing up would just be, that's so cool to see that person. That's so cool to see that linked in. But right now, I'm fully focused on just letting them tell their story, and I'm looking forward to it.
No, I agree to you. I agree.
Okay, then, my friend. Well, that's it. That's our show. A massive apology again for the delay in this one coming out. Well aware by the time people get this in their phones and, binging to say that it's available, episode 4 is out. And I am sorry about that because I know people want to kind of listen, watch, and stuff. So, apologies. We will try and correct that for next week. It was a technical glitch that I just didn't know how to fix. So
power cuts are an unpredictable thing.
Well, the thing is the desk and everything should have enough that I can be able to power it down. But I think it was because I literally hit end record as the power went. It's just like a 1 in a billion. Like, it literally, we'd finished the show and I'd gone ding, and it just went. So I'm about to have some sort of PTSD as I try and end this show again now. But a massive thank you to everybody for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back very soon with Andor episode 4. Until then, everyone, may the force be with you. Stefan, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Goodbye, lovely people and listeners.
And listeners. And Cassian, remind us again, how easy is it to steal from the Empire?
You just walk in like you belong.
Takes more than that, doesn't it?
What, to steal from the Empire? What do you need? A uniform, some dirty hands, and an Imperial toolkit. They're so proud of themselves, they don't even care. They're so fat and satisfied, they can't imagine it.
Can't imagine what?
That someone like me would ever get inside their house, walk their floors, spit in their food, take their gear. Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.